The Premier League is coming to an end. And having wanted to do my Championship final day predictions, it is also fitting that I would want to do a Premier League final day predictions as well. Championship, though, there's not as much to contest for, but there's still some stuff. First game, Arsenal vs Watford. I think this is the biggest game of the weekend because it means Watford have to win or else have to hope for a draw and Villa to lose by 4 goals. I think sacking Nigel Pearson was a shot in the foot because I think of manager and sacking him and then coming up against Man City and then Arsenal. Yeah, he probably would have lost both, and yes, there was a fallout in between him and the owners. But the sacking has just come at the wrong time. And the amount of sackings has definitely not taken Watford forward. But as for the game, I think Watford they've got a chance, but I don't think it will fall in their favour. Arsenal are a pretty good side. Mikel Arteta has definitely improved them, and they are much more capable than they were earlier this season. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, Alexandre Lacazette, both top strikers. Okay, then they're not Harry Kane or Sergio Aguero, but they're both very good Premier League strikers. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is going to want to go for that golden boot. It's a game where I think Arsenal, it's more in their favour despite the loss to Aston Villa. I'm going to say Arsenal 2, Watford 0. Up next, we've got Burnley versus Brighton and Hove Albion. Again, both sides have nothing to play for. But Burnley are the stronger team at this moment of time. They're at home. I think the simple tactics of Sean Dyche will help them get the victory. I'm going to say Burnley 2, Brighton and Hove Albion 0. Up next, we've got Chelsea versus Wolves. Now, there are people who make qualifying for the Champions League and qualifying for the Europa League a big deal. Now, for me, unless you are a fan of one of these teams, I think it's just overhype, especially as in most cases the teams trying to qualify wouldn't be good enough to win the actual competition. I mean, Wolves, I think, could probably win a Europa League. Chelsea, I think, are established Europa League champions. This is a game where both sides are very good. I think not much gets past Wolves. Chelsea are strong on up front, but need a revamp in their defence for next season. A flip-flopped between a 3-2 Chelsea win and a 3-2 Wolverhampton Wanderers win. It's the same scenario with Luton versus Blackburn. I wasn't sure whether to go 3-2 Luton or 3-2 Blackburn, so I went with a 2-2 draw, and that's what I'm going to do here. Chelsea 2, Wolverhampton 2. Next, we've got Crystal Palace versus Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham have had a very disappointing season. Crystal Palace have been middle of the road for this season. Palace do tend to be commendable at home. Jordan Ayew, Wilfried Zaha usually do well up front. I think Spurs haven't fully got their act together. I'm going to say Crystal Palace 1, Tottenham 1. Tottenham are the better team, but I don't think that means they are going to win. Up next, Everton versus Bournemouth. It's win or bust for Bournemouth, and even then they've got to rely on other results going their way. Coming up to Goodison Park is not an easy thing to do. Granted, no fans, but Carlo Ancelotti is a brilliant manager. And even though Villa did manage to almost beat Everton, even then I think Villa are better than Bournemouth. I think Bournemouth's ticket to the Championship is being printed, and by the end of the season the doors will open for them. I think Everton will be too good. I'm going to say Everton 3, AFC Bournemouth 1. Up next, Leicester City versus Manchester United. Battle for Champions League. Who cares? I'm going to I'll say both sides are more or less good I'd say both sides are more or less at the same level. Jamie Vardy's going to want to go for that golden boot. Manchester United have some excellent attacking players. I think midfield, both sides do well as well. Leicester, I'd say, probably better defensively. I'm going to say Leicester 1, Man United 1. Up next, Manchester City versus Norwich City. This is going to be a one-way result. I can't imagine Norwich getting anything out of this game. A weak attack. Not that good of a defence or midfield. I do like their goalkeeper Tim Krul though, but he's not being dealt a good hand with this squad. But they might be. I think they could be good enough to come back up into the Premier League in the future, but they will need to invest. Manchester City, they've got some excellent players, and I think even their second team could win this pretty comfortably. I'm going to say it could be 4-0, 5-0. I'm going to say Manchester City 5, Norwich 0. Up next, Newcastle versus Liverpool. Liverpool are champions, although the maximum they can hit can be equaling what they scored last season in 99 points. I think this is a game where Jurgen Klopp's not going to want to go all gun-ho. I think he'll go more for the winning ugly approach. Newcastle, I think they're not easy to break down, but this Liverpool side do have a big amount of attacking threat. I shall say Newcastle 0, Liverpool 2. Up next, Southampton versus Sheffield United. It's been a disastrous start for Southampton, but they've got their act together, and Danny Ings is in contention of winning the Golden Boot. Sheffield United defied the odds and managed to get at a finish in the top half and even be contention for Europe. However, I would say I think both sides are capable of winning this game. I think there's goals in this. I'm going to say Southampton 2, Sheffield United 2. And finally, the other big game, West Ham versus Aston Villa. Any slip up from Villa will allow Watford to potentially go above them and take the 17th remaining spot in the Premier League. I think this is a game where both sides are relatively evenly matched. West Ham probably have the better players, but they've not really utilised them very well. Ahead, West Ham will find an equaliser. I don't think there's too much to separate the two sides, but it might fall more in Aston Villa's favour. I'm going to say West Ham 1, Aston Villa 1. So what does that mean for the Premier League table? Well, Liverpool are of course champions with 99 points. The rest of the top four stays as it started in the weekend. Manchester City, Manchester United, Chelsea, with Leicester finishing in that Europa League spot. Wolves finishing 6th in the Europa League qualifiers place. Tottenham just miss out of getting 6th. However, they can enter the Europa League qualifiers if Chelsea beat Arsenal in the FA Cup final. Mind you, even then that might not work out if Chelsea. No, I was about to say it wouldn't work out if Chelsea finished in the Europa League spots, but I think it can work out for them if that is the case for Spurs. And Burnley go up to 8th after Burnley and Arsenal both go up above Sheffield United after their wins, and Sheffield United it's not getting a win. And down the bottom, Aston Villa stay up by a point as Watford and Bournemouth join Norwich to be relegated to the Championship. That was my predictions. Let me know if you want to see me predict each weekend. And I probably won't get much responses, but it might come down to me doing the predictions week in, week out. I suppose up next is me to predict the playoffs, which won't be the easiest thing.